It's 5 minutes to 9. It's the 75th anniversary of the Spanish Civil War this year. It was a conflict which set the scene for the battle against fascism that defined the middle of the 20th century. And thousands of men and women from Britain and Ireland went to Spain to fight on the side of the Spanish Republic. More, in fact, than we'd thought, according to documents released from the National Archive. James Cronin is diplomatic and colonial record specialist at the Archive. We also have on the line Ken Loach, director of the film Land and Freedom, which was about the Spanish Civil War. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
James Cronin, tell us about these documents, because you got these from MI5.
Yes, that's right. They're amongst documents that were actually released last year, but we've digitised them to coincide with the 75th anniversary. There is one large list which includes over 4,000 names of people who were suspected of having crossed over into France for the purpose of going into Spain to fight. And so we've digitised that list, which also at the end has a list or a roll of honour, although it's known that that's not necessarily complete.
And 4,000 is more than we had actually thought had gone.
Yes. Historians such as Anthony Beaver have been quoting figures such as 2,000 to 2,500 previously. So yes, it's certainly considerably up from that.
And MI5, we should stress, we're keeping these files because...
Well, MI5 were keeping these files because Britain, like a number of other League of Nations powers, had pursued a policy of non-intervention. So there was a ban on fighting in Spain. Therefore, there was a watch on ports. And so it's as a result of that this list was created.
Right. Ken Loach, you... The Land and Freedom was a fictional film, wasn't it? But did you talk to veterans of the Spanish Civil War?
Yes, we spoke to lots. It's not surprising that they underestimated the numbers, I guess, because every police account of every demonstration underestimates the numbers by half. So we shouldn't be too surprised at their intervention. Yes, they were very ordinary lads. I mean, there were some very well-known volunteers like George Orwell and the poet John Cornford and Laurie Lee, but the vast majority were ordinary working-class lads from the shipyards, from the mines, from the hunger marches. They were from South Wales, Manchester, Clydeside, London, mainly trade unionists, politically active. They'd fought fascism here. I met several, actually, particularly a man called Stafford Cotman, who fought alongside George Orwell. They were from teenagers to 30s, and they were brave lads, very brave.
And what do you think it was that made that battle one that they wanted to fight in so much more than so many other battles that occur, civil wars and conflicts around the world, in which one side might be right and the other side wrong?
Well, it was a war in defence of a democratically elected government against fascism. And they'd fought Mosley's black shirts here. Extraordinarily, well, maybe not extraordinarily, the British, French and American governments put an embargo on defending democracy, and which was, of course, was an encouragement to fascism, because the Germans and Italians were arming the fascists and sending troops. So these mainly men went and fought to defend democracy.
James Cronin, tell us what's in these files, and what can you see about the individuals? How much detail do we have about them?
Well, from the list itself, that has been fully digitised, with the names that you get, it provides the details of when they crossed over, whether or not they joined an international brigade. But then what accompanies them after this is a collection of cards that were built up. And some of these then track further various activities, sort of whether they were active in local communist parties, whether they'd attended various meetings, and that goes all the way through up until the 1950s.
Ken Loach, just in 30 seconds, the stories didn't always end happily, did they? And of course the war was lost.
Yes, because our countries stood by and watched fascism win. But these young men, today they would be in the flotilla that will try and break the illegal Israeli blockade of Gaza. people like this went and supported the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, and it was a fight. It was a fight against fascism in the interest of the people of Spain.
Ken Loach, James Cronin, thank you both.
Our editors Ollie Stoneley and Serene Baines. From us all, good morning.